get some padding, some tape, and make a bicycle seat. Okay? and then you're basically improvising the Sager. Okay? So you can do that, or we can go ahead and improvise the KTD since we do have a longer pole. So which one do you want to go with? Bicycle seat? Which one does Ben want us to do?
Bicycle seat, right?
Let's do the outside one. Okay.
You sure?
So one of the cool things about these belt packs is we can improvise that ischial strap. Okay? So we need to improvise the ankle hitch, so we need some triangular bandages. We are, in fact, though, going to have to do something different. With the improvised one, we need to build a fixation splint. Because remember how we have that one person providing the what? The manual
Stabilization.
Okay, we need to replace that person with what we call a fixation splint. Okay? So, again, this patient's backboarded on the ground right now. This is a wilderness improvisation. Backboarded on the ground. We're waiting for a search and rescue team to come in with the necessary equipment. And so, what's the principle with a long bone fracture in terms of splinting? Joint above and below. So the fixation splint is definitely going to immobilize the knee. And we're going to have to count on the fact that Ben is on the ground, that is serving as the immobilization for the joint above. Okay? So, again, I'm going to be working as if we have a team, and this can take up to an hour if we're being very diligent and appropriately moving and stabilizing a couple sets of hands on this to keep this all moving as one unit. Because you can imagine if we lifted this up and we weren't providing that stabilization, what's going to happen here. Okay? So, go ahead and adjust yourself. So I want to get this up. There we go. Okay. So where's our... Nick, could you give me a couple pieces of clothing? I'll use for some padding here. That's good. A common mistake people in our classes make in improvising this traction splint is they make this fixation splint, they make it too large and long, and it runs all the way down here, and then it's really challenging to work and build the what? The ankle hitch. Okay, so try to do it so it's higher up and leaving adequate space for you to do a good ankle hitch. Ben, if you can help me out here, just kind of like hold the pad together. If I get somebody to hold the other end in, please.
Yeah, I put most of them up. Yeah, Nick sent out the link. Right? What? Did you send out the link?
I think you did.
Yeah. You guys stop being mean to him. You just did that.
on, Gavin. That's good.
Anybody want a second cookie? Yes.
I knew it.
How'd you go?
Who sent you like individually wrapped?
My mom.
Yeah, I was like that.
You see Suzanne?
Give you the
Really
Whole
small bakery.
Foods.
Oh, your mom said
Impressive.
thank you.
Yeah, she cooks in her free time and sells them.
Okay, so this is the way I like to suggest using your triangle advantage. Different techniques, different approaches. I like to spread them out because I think that it provides a little bit more uniform pressure as opposed to turning them into cravats and tying them. I like to offer it this way. Then I'm going to go ahead and really make it look nice and svelte. And two, when you use the ace wraps, I recommend rolling it like this, because that way you can get the maximum compression value, taking advantage of that stretch of the ace wrap, so you can get that compression, because this way you can get a good grip while you're still unrolling it. So again, in real life we'd be taking our time on this, because you see how Ben's kind of like helping me out and lifting his leg up. Again, this would be a team effort, lifting up slowly to be able to get these materials in there. Okay. Is everybody good with the fixation splint? Okay, so that's an important component part. Okay. Next we've got to build our ischial strap, and these red bags are like perfect for that. Yes and no. There are backpacks that have these kind of component parts, so just have to improvise.
Those backpack, you can actually remove the lid.
Yeah, you can take them apart and use the component parts from the backpack. So basically, see how that's kind of like providing that ischial strap there. And we're going to have that counter traction. Everybody got that? Everybody see that? Okay. So now what we need to do is we need to build our ankle hitch.
I got him when he dropped a bunch of it out of his mouth.
Good job, good idea on the cookies, keeping everybody alert and oriented.
Times 3.
Instead of
Times
snoozing.
4.
Instead of snoozing. So again, this is try to keep this at 59 degrees. So we're going to take advantage of the lateral and medial malleoli. Get that padding in there. Okay. So a technique for making an ankle hitch is using this So everybody see the S there? See the S? Okay. So we'll take this running end underneath the ankle and bring it up through this loop. We'll take this running end, bring it underneath around the padding through this S loop. So everybody see where we are now? Everybody see that? Okay, so we're going to cinch it down, again, identifying our landmarks, our malleoli, making sure that this is Going to cinch down above. Cinch it down. Okay, everybody see that? Round the padding. We're basically going to snug that. Ideally, you want to use a brand new triangular bandage, one that's less likely to unravel and get torn apart. These have been washed multiple times and recycled. But basically, patients keep their foot at a 90-degree angle. You saw how I did that. Now we've got our ankle hitch. Okay?
That's cool.
So, next step, we need some cord and some tape. Right here. And where's our bag with
Right there.
furlong and webbing? Yes, thank you.
Maybe swear.
All the fun things in life.
I'm gonna actually do this down there. Wouldn't give this here, man.
If you were to private
Okay. So now what's really important, a common mistake people make, is they make this ankle hitch with, now we're going to do what we call a trucker's hitch. From this spot, too much of an angle. We need this out at least 1.5 feet, about 1.5 feet, so that there's more of a straight angle for that trucker's hitch doing the mechanical traction. Because if it's done at an angle, it's really not doing the best job. Okay? So what I'm going to do here with my pole, because I'm going to do it out of here, so I'm just going to create a little bit of a barrier here to keep my hitch from sliding down.
that noise.
So you could just put the roll of tape on top of that tape.
Yeah, you could. I'm going to do that. I'm going to have that underneath first because that way it has something to rest up against before I put the other tape on. Okay, so don't really have long enough cord, so I'll just take a couple cords. And definitely one of the principles when you're doing knots is you want to have, can't remember what it's called, but basically that additional half hitch in order to secure the ends so that the knot itself, the principal knot itself. John's the climber. What do you call that? When you throw that extra
Safety knot?
safety knot, half hitch?
Yeah.
Okay. What'd you call it, say, John?
Stopper knot.
Okay. So, all I did was just a square knot with a couple half hitches just to secure, provide that a little additional safety so that that square knot, my principal knot, doesn't come undone. Okay. So one end I need to do just a simple overhand knot. Let's see that. Okay, and then down here, I'm going to do basically a prusik. Prusik.
I think I'm going to go take my
Tomato tomato, tomato. Oh, say- oh, say- okay.
I'm gonna take my boogie board out of the sucker. It's gonna be so much
While you're doing all this, is the patient swinging?
Oh, no. Somebody's pulling manual traction. Somebody's pulling manual traction. Okay, so basically a prusik is going to secure that. Okay.
I'm just gonna paddle across the sucker.
Okay. So oftentimes that's good enough, but that's why I like to add that tape just to have a little bit of extra comfort level. And so I'll take my. Meanwhile, somebody's still pulling manual traction. Those two things. So we built our fixation splint, so that relieved that person that was doing the manual stabilization. More than one person should have said something. That person, once we build this fixation splint, that relieves the job of the person that's doing manual
Stabilization.
All right, good job. Okay. So, does everybody see? Everybody get the idea here? This is in your handbook. And so somebody's pulling, when we're doing the improvisation, or we're doing like the Kendrick, or any of the others, we have the manual traction, and then we build our mechanical traction with the idea that once the person pulling manual traction feels this mechanical traction taking up the slack, so to speak, that's when you know that you have it in the right position, okay? And so then what you're going to do is just from that position, you're going to go ahead and secure that knot like that. Tension. So again, don't do these so tight because again, you're pulling traction against an intact femur, and so if we keep on pulling and snugging it down, it's just going to tear apart your ankle hitch. Okay? So everybody see this? Okay, and then you might go ahead and add some more A-strap to go ahead and secure this. And then the last thing we do with any of these kind of interventions, we reassess CSMs to see if maybe even our patient has CSMs that have likely been altered from that traction in line that needed to take place. So this is our improvised traction splint. So the principles are there. We have to do the fixation splint. We have to have the ischial strap. We have to have the ankle hitch. We have to have our trucker's hitch. And we have to have this support, either the Sager version with the bicycle seat or the Kendrick traction device version if you have the longer pole. And that's an important part of both of our improvised ones is they have to be about 1.5 feet to be able to ensure that the traction is as best in line with the length of the bone.
So that finishes you and one other person, not one of us.
If what?
You and one other person.
You and one other person? There
By
are
you and one other person, I mean the other person's the injured one. You're the only rescuer.
Okay, so this is what a Vietnam medic.
Get the animals help.
So Nate,
Just myself up there with
Right,
your legs.
So Nate was for Nate's my patient, but Jerry was one of my paramedic instructors. Super good guy. One of California's. I never worked as a paramedic. I just did paramedic school just to get the education, the academics, because that's a job for a young person. You have to do it full time to be a paramedic because of all the drugs that you have to memorize, etc.
I was like, all the drugs.
To handle all those drugs. Yes.
It's like you just have to do them to be a
Here, just
paramedic.
whenever we're practicing our splint building, please untie your own damn knots.
Yeah, Nick. Nick, what do you think? Yeah, come on. Lead by example, shit.
Okay, so anyway, if you don't have any other choice, lay down. Friction of the ground, okay, and then just you're pulling the best you can, however you got to do it, and then tie using triangular bandages to secure. It's called anatomical splinting. First one might be a little bit tighter.
Oh, that's like what you do when you break a finger.
Okay.
What is your femur?
This is not comfortable for
It's basically
the
the same
patient,
thing.
but this is a judgment call on your part that you need, if it's your set of circumstances, it's just you and one other person, that's something that you can. Okay, and then you can, once this is secure, then you can go ahead and readjust this one.
Could you then go ahead and build this?
And then you can go ahead and build maybe a fixation splint like this, okay? And then secure this even better. So basically you're using the intact leg as this, okay? Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. It's not ideal, but that's your last resort type of thing if it's just